Hey, what's up, guys? Alex here. So, a lot of you guys really enjoyed my last two discussing transit videos, and I did say in the community post yesterday that, of course, I'm going to make more because I have a lot of great ideas to make rapid transit in the GTA even better. So, breaking away from Toronto for this video, we're going to be taking a look at the growing suburban city of Mississauga in Peel region. Mississauga has a kind of decent bus system. It also has a transit way cutting through the heart of Mississauga, but it also has a very high demand corridors like Derry Road, Steeles Avenue, Eglinton Avenue. Actually, no, Steeles Avenue is in Brampton. My bad. Uh, Obviously Dundas Street, Hurontario Street, and that's why for a few days, I've been thinking, should there be a subway system in Mississauga? I think the answer is yes. So last night I went on MetroMapMaker.com and made this fantasy subway map for Mississauga. Now this map is obviously similar to the one I created last fall. You guys can check out those videos. I'll leave a link to in the description below, or even in the top right corner of your screen. So, Mississauga, as I said, it's a growing city, but it's also getting more denser, especially along Hurontario Street, where there's already a disaster of a LRT being under construction. I'll get to that in a little bit. But I want to start with Dundas here. And this is the Dundas subway line, obviously. And this subway line would follow the routing of the existing 101 Dundas Express bus, which runs, I believe, Monday to Saturday, so 6 days a week. I'll show you guys the map here. Oops. Well, actually, this is the system map of the entire express network, but gives you a little bit of an idea anyway. So I think this subway would stop at pretty much at most of the stops that are, still there on the 101, except it wouldn't end at the very end. See where it says Laird Road, Ridgeway Drive? No. The subway would end at Winston Churchill Boulevard. And this brings me to the list of stops. Now I lost it here, but okay, there we go. So we'll start with the eastern end of the line at Kipling Station. Obviously, would have a connection with the TTC Line 2 subway, TTC buses, including those to Pearson Airport, the GO Transit Kitchener line, and the only GO bus route that serves the complex, the 29 to Guelph, and of course many other Mileway bus routes. Obviously, the subway would replace the 101 Dundas Express bus, but service on the local one bus would be retained, obviously, to provide local service. So obviously, I think this station, I think it's a no-brainer. It would be right underneath the existing Kipling terminal, which was built 5 years ago. Next up would be East Mall Station, still in Toronto. Let's pull up Google Maps here. I'll show you guys the area. So this would be somewhere around here. I know it's not that much, but there could easily be a subway station entrance right here on the north side, Dundas Street West, uh, and the west side of East Mall Crescent. And of course, steps away is Cloverdale Mall. So obviously there'd be a direct connection there. The next station would be Wharton Way. Now, this part of Dundas is literally literally just a typical commercial industrial area with not much density. But I do see a growth of density happening along this corridor, maybe in the next 5, 10 or so years. Um, I think the entrance to that subway station would probably be. on that corner. There'd be one entrance here. I'm not sure if I see another entrance being built. But here's the thing, though. Uh, I wouldn't have this built by Metrolinx because Metrolinx doesn't get their shit right, and they've already they've already overbuilt the size of the Eglinton LRT entrances and probably for the Ontario line entrances as well. So I would just make it like a small entrance like this and just a set of stairs and one elevator. Not too bad. Next station would be, of course, oops, would be Dixie Road. Uh, Not that far of a walk from the Dixie GO station. So again, lots of commercial plazas here and there. I think the entrance to the station would be probably where that Circle K is. I don't know if there would be a bus terminal. I'm not exactly sure, but either way, I think the connection is kind of feasible, and it would have connections to the 5 Dixie bus routes, and then I guess it's a 6-7 minute walk to the Dixie GO station on the Milton line, where you can also catch the 31 Ogden bus. Moving along, we come up to Tompkin Road, and this time we have a little bit of residential development just north of Dundas. There's a high-rise building, and it's obvious that I think an entrance to a subway station would be where this KFC is. And honestly, I have a feeling eventually there's gonna be like a zoning proposal that would probably eliminate this KFC, so we could build like a new development. So seems viable enough to me. And this route and this station would connect with the 51 Tompkin bus. It's not exactly far, but I would also add a Kafra station here, which would connect with the 8 Kafra bus. I'm sure you guys may hate me for putting a station here. I wasn't even going to, but if you look at this area, there's easily a space for the station, and then again, this is not an actual intersection. Like it's just like I'm not sure how you put this, but there's like a little ramp from Dundas will take you on to Kafra. So I'm guessing there would be like 2 levels, right? There would be like one level for Dundas and then one level for Kafra, and I think they would be able to maybe relocate the existing bus stop so that they would connect with the station. But nothing really much here, other than the fact that just these typical single-family homes in Mississauga. Moving on, we head over to the Cooksville neighborhood and the busy intersection of Dundas Street West and Hurontario Streets. Um, Again, it's kind of low density, but again, there's definitely a bright future for development to happen around here. And I think there would be an entrance on the northeast corner where the CIBC building is. Maybe on that maybe for that corner as well, or even on the RBC Rail Bank. Um, as I said, there would be a here Ontario subway line that would literally replace the boondoggle of an LRT that is. It's already wreaking havoc on communities and traffic. And there's literally, I'm not joking, there's no target completion for this line, and it's pretty much going to run like a glorified streetcar. I was going to make a separate video on why the Ontario LRT is a bad idea, similar to how I talked about with the Eglinton East LRT, but it's just a lot of work. But either way, this would be a major interchange station if Ontario subway were to be built. Too late for that now. Now things get a little more residential as we progress further west. And here we have Mavis Road. You can see how freaking wide this this stroad is. It's very typical of Mississauga. It makes you wonder if you could even add like a LRT or a BRT in there too. But this line would still be underground at this point. Um, I think the one station entrance could really be on the northwest corner here of Mavis and Dundas, and I think there'd be connection. And oh yeah, there actually isn't any bus connections around here, or at least I don't think. What bus route is that? Is that the 38? No, that's Route 4. Okay, I'm not really too familiar with the buses in the area. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention for here Ontario, we would have the 2 Hurontario bus and the 38 Credit View, and I think the 4 bus as well. And next up, we have Arundel. And I think I would name this station Arundel Woodlands for the neighborhood it's in. Again, low density area with, again, typical commercial plazas and stuff like that. But again, like I said, I would see more development if this subway were ever to be built. Uh, it's pretty obvious that this entrance would be built here to replace the Pizza. There's a lot of space for that. And are there any other busters? Oh yeah, there's the 6 Credit Woodlands bus that would serve the station. Okay, and now this is where the line would emerge overground because it has to cross the Credit River. So there would be an elevated station at Mississauga Road, of course, with its close proximity to the University of Toronto Mississauga campus. I would obviously name this station UTM. Again, look at all, like, there could easily be a station right around here, I should say, right around here. And then there'd be like an elevated bridge for the tracks and the station. And it's not, obviously it's not pedestrian friendly around here. It would obviously would serve the students of the university. And even though there's a sidewalk here, like nobody wants to walk on this. Like there's like nothing to see around here. You're just walking on a stroad. Let me see how long it would take to walk from this intersection to the campus. So look, 14 minutes. So that's kind of long. It might be a little faster than that, but oh yeah, it even says here if you just walk on Mississauga Road and then go over to the campus entrance, yeah, that's a long walk. So what I would do is I would actually have a free shuttle bus running between UTM station and the campus. Obviously, I would use electric vehicles, and I think there'd be automated shuttles as well. I think those have been uh, very prominent in European cities, and I think in some North American cities as well. I think that should really work. After UTM, the line would head back underground as we reach Erin Mills Parkway Station. And again, nothing too much around here except for a couple of residential areas. Pretty obvious that there would be a subway station entrance right there. Look at all this space; it could definitely be used. But I think there'd be another entrance too, maybe at that corner there. And this station would have a connection with the 110 Express bus running between not Cooksville, Clarkson Station and City Center Station via UTM and South Common Center. Again, it's just residential around here. Hopefully, there'll be new development pretty soon. And then finally, our last stop would be Winston Churchill. And again, just your typical suburban intersection. And I think an entrance. Actually, no. Actually, there would be like one small entrance at the. I think this is the southeast corner, and then I think there would be a bus terminal somewhere on that corner, the northeast corner, because the 101 and one already loops around through Ridgeway and Laird. I think routes 1 and whatever bus, I think it's the 44 if I'm not mistaken, that goes along Winston Churchill. I think that would serve this bus terminal. And of course, being a close proximity with Oakville, then obviously there's a couple of Oakville transit buses that already come out this way. You might as well extend them to Winston Churchill Station. Now, like I said, Dundas Street is not that dense, but I see it happening eventually. If I were to get this subway built, there would have to be like zoning bylaws to allow the development to happen. And again, going back to the map here, we would have let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12. All right, so there'd be 12 stations. three stations would be major connections, right? Kipling Station, Dundas, Ontario, and Winston Churchill. All right, let's move on to our next line. All right, so compared to Dundas Street, Ontario Street is a very, very heavily used transit corridor. Here, Ontario is just another typical road, but it has a lot of density, and it pretty much justifies a subway that could literally easily be built instead of this stupid nonsense that Metrolinx is building currently, the Hazel McCallion LRT. Um, this is already a bad project. It's been under construction for, I think, 6 years or so, and they have not made much progress other than the fact that they've built the stops on the northern end of the line, but they still haven't really laid much track elsewhere. And of course, this weird spur alignment over the city center, it's gonna be elevated. It's yeah, it's very weird. I'm not even sure why they decided to come up with the LRT in the first place. If you look around here, you can easily see how wide this line is, and then you see all the developments literally happening along here, right? God knows how many people live around this area. This could have easily been its own subway line, and instead they decided to just build what would have been a glorified streetcar line that would obviously have signal priority, but it's going to be like a hyped up version of the existing Line 6 Finch West line. Like I said, I could easily make my own video on this, but my ideas could already incorporate with this anyway. So it's too late. Unfortunately, Mississauga residents will have to pay the price of living in these expensive areas and only to be served by what would be another glorified streetcar line. And like I said, it's had a lot of construction issues, and they haven't really done their best to rectify them or even just figure out what the hell is the problem. So, needless to say, long story short, the LRT is a bad idea for here Ontario Street, and that's why a subway really should have been built instead, because it's literally like Yonge Street, or Eglinton. It would have been so much better. But either way, let's get to my proposal. So we're starting off with Port Credit Station at the southern end of the line. Obviously, we connect with the Lakeshore West GO train line at Port Credit Station. Now, this part of the line would be overground. As you can see, they've already started to build the station box for the LRT line, and look, there's already a little bit of development over there. And it would connect with several My Way bus routes in the area. We got the 14, 23, 2, and I'm not sure whatever bus routes are in the area, but you get the idea. Obviously, there's the connection to the Port Credit GO station on the Lakeshore West line. Right after that, the line would pretty much dive underground, and there would be a station at Mineola or Minola, whatever the hell you want to call it. Actually, I'm not even sure if there should be a station right here. I want to I want to limit the amount of stops, right? Because the LRT already has enough. I just if you want faster travel times, you always gotta have the stations as far apart. I think an entrance to the station would probably be around here, and I think it'd be like one simple entrance. If Metrolinx wasn't building this, make sure this entrance is about like a small enough and not like freaking overbuilt. Well, again, a waste of resources and land use. There would be so according to the map here, there would be another station at North Service Road, but we're not going to add one there. Instead, the next station would be Queensway. And this would be another major stop because it would serve the Trillium Health Center and a couple other bus routes as well. Um, I think it's pretty obvious that they would get rid of this medical building here and would replace it with an entrance to the station. And I think there'd be another one here at that corner, so at least there's a direct connection to the hospital. It's not very far, But the next station would be Dundas, Ontario, and as I said, it would connect with the Dundas subway. No need to talk about that because we've already explained where the station could be. And then the next station on the Hurontario line would be Cooksville Station, obviously to connect with the Milton line. However, I'm not sure if I could add another subway station there because again, I measured the spacing. It's about like 700 meters apart. Honestly, if anything, let me know in the comments what you think. I would just leave it as it is, and then would probably like have to maintain like a safe walking path between this station and then Cooksville. And besides, there's already another station that I would add here, which would be Central Parkway. Originally for the LRT, it would be called Fairview. Again, look at all the development here. This would have been much easier than having to like dig up the middle of the street. Well, they kind of have to do it anyway, at least to build the stations. Replace the Esso gas station with an entrance to the station, and then I think another one would probably be whatever the hell this thing is here. Oh yeah, look, a restaurant. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. They want to get rid of these smaller looking places so they could build their entrances there. And this station would have a connection with the 3 Bloor bus. And then we go a very short distance to get to Burdenthorpe Station. Now, on this map, notice that I have a Burdenthorpe line. I was deciding if this should be its own BRT or LRT. We're not really going to get into that because I don't really think it means too much. But Burlington, not Burdenthorpe Road is just it's wide enough to maybe accommodate such infrastructure like this. But it's nothing really that I'm kind of into. I just decided to draw this out just for just for the hell of it. So anyway, went back. So we look around here at Burdenthorpe. At this point, you're actually at the southeastern end of the entire parking lot of the Square One shopping center. But I would build a station so at least you're very close to the residential development, and of course, this subway would connect with um, the 26 and 126 Burdenthorpe buses. And yeah, I would actually have the station right there, and maybe even another entrance right at the northwest corner. So at least people would be able to reach the residential developments and also the office buildings that are along this stretch. Okay, so this line takes a different alignment. It's still underground, obviously. So it would. It's obvious it's a much more simpler alignment than this spur for the LRT. So following my cursor here, this line would dive over to the northwest and running directly underneath Square One Shopping Center. Yes, there would be disruptions, but they would try to mitigate it anyway. And this brings us to City Center, which is of course the major bus terminal, and of course it's right next to the Square One Go Bus terminal. So obviously there would be a lot of important connections because every like pretty much any Mileway bus will take you to like any corner of the city. So obviously this really bodes well, especially for the amount of development in the area, nearby Sheridan College, and of course entertainments at the Celebration Square. You just have to walk a little bit. So nothing really more to say about that. And then this line would cross underneath Highway 403, and then it would make its way back to Hurontario Streets to its next stop, Eglinton. There's still a little bit of development under construction here, but I think it really makes sense if you want to add a subway station, maybe over that plaza over there, the southeast corner. It would have connections with the 35 and 135 Eglinton buses. Again, look at all this development. This kind of reminds me of like Young Street in North York, Finch Avenue, Shepherd Avenue. If you see more development along here, I think it's pretty justifiable that you can add like a subway entrance, subway station and an entrance right here. I don't know why I keep going back and forth with that. So the next stop on the LRT would be Bristol, which is mostly residential street. However, I would eliminate that and put its next station closer to Matheson Boulevard. Now, from this point on, most of this corridor is just it's just industrial. There's like not really there's like a lack of residential development here, but I think, like I said, I could definitely see a lot more happening. And that over there, that is that's the education center of for the Peel District School Board. I think there'd be, oh yeah, and there's also for the different Peel Catholic District School Board. I think there'd be an entrance right here, another bigger one, and I think this would have a connection with the 43 Matheson bus, and then still underground. Next station would be Britannia, where you would connect with the 39 Britannia bus, and I think I'm not sure. I am not familiar with the bus routes in Mississauga, so I'm not actually sure whatever bus routes would be here. Pretty straightforward. Get rid of this gas station, put an entrance there. You can actually see on Google Street View, they did already make a lot of progress with the tracking, but it's still pretty painful that you're gonna have to still navigate your way around here and stuff like that. But like I said, get more development. It seems more viable to me. After going underneath Highway 401, we continue all the way to Courtney Park Drive. Like I said, it's still a very industrial commercial area, and there's a couple of hotels in that area too. I guess for business people, and also lots of people work night shifts here. But obviously, an overnight bus would contemplate that um as well. Oops. And then I don't think there's any more well, except I would eliminate county court, but it's pretty straightforward. So now the line would emerge overground, and I think elevated would be a perfect option because again, look at all the space on the west side of Hurontario Street. This line could easily go overground and just remain elevated all the way unless more development's coming. I think an elevated section would really work for this part of the line. So yeah, immediately after Courtney Park Station, it would emerge overground and it would reach Derry Road, and the station would be elevated as well. Derry Road is another busy corridor with many buses. I think it's the 18 or 40 something. I'm not exactly sure, but I think there'd be a curbside. Sorry, I think there'd be like curbside stops in the area, or maybe if they have the space or time, they could even build like a separate bus terminal. It's also walking distance with the to the Mississauga um, Convention Center. Nothing else to say about that. So this line remains overground, and it would also go over the Highway 47. And then immediately after that, this line would head back underground. See, look, it's so perfect. You might as well just put this overground, and then there'd be a tunnel portal right around here, and then the line would run underneath because there's a lot more activity here. Then it makes more sense. So we come up to the next stop, which is Ray Lawson, and now at this point we're in Brampton. I believe there's the courthouse, the original courthouse, just up the street from here. And let's see, are we really at Ray Lawson? Yes, we are. Okay, so if we get rid of this, oh, actually, yeah, this plaza here, because look how small it is. Only for that, you get rid of this plaza and you build an entrance there, and then maybe there could be one where the RBC bank is. So at least like you don't have to cross the street if you're going to a courthouse or anything. But that could really depend. And there's a Brampton bus route here. I think what route is this? 56 and 206. Again, I am not familiar with Brampton myself, but there's also a residential neighborhood around here, so what even gives? And finally, Steeles Avenue, Brampton Gateway would be the last stop for this subway line. Now, I thought of extending it to Brampton Innovation District, but um, it's very complicated to have to build like an underground connection. It's already gonna have an impact on the community because I think it's designated as a heritage site. I might be wrong, but I think there's a lot. There would be a lot of pushback in that area if we were to build like a subway an underground subway connection to downtown Brampton. But anyway, there's the major Brampton Gateway bus terminal here. It would serve the 502 and 511 Zoom buses, which are the BRT routes for Brampton Transit, and of course we connect with other Brampton Transit buses. And over there is the Shoppers World shopping mall, which I could see a lot of redevelopment happening in that area. And then there would be an entrance over where this plaza is. It would also have connections with Go buses as well. The only thing is that Go buses actually stop right here. But other than that, I think if there is a vision for a Hurontario subway, it would work a lot better than this LRT that they're building. And like I said, the Hurontario LRT is already a big disaster. I've already talked a lot about the disadvantages with the Eglinton East LRT, and it would be pretty similar with that of the Hurontario line. Unfortunately, it's too late. We have to, Mississauga residents have to put up with this BS. But bottom line is, Hurontario Street is literally dense enough for a subway. I know it's not that dense uh around the northern part of Mississauga, southern end of Brampton, but I think it would really work well for that. And of course, there's the final product for the map. So guys, let me know your thoughts, suggestions in the comments down below. Again, keep it going with your ideas, your takes, your suggestions. Feel free to disagree with me as well, but at least be concise. You guys have been amazing, coming up with your own ideas, your own suggestions, and my past videos. And that's why I'll be making more videos like these if I come up with even more ideas, or if I can review other projects happening in the GTA. And now, kind of going off topic, tunneling has just began on the Ontario line, which will be a game-changing transit project. Although it won't exactly be a subway, it'll be a underground slash elevated light metro, but obviously it'll run like a subway anyway. So yeah, maybe I could make a separate video on this, but it's gonna take a lot of time and research. So yeah, guys, like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And stay tuned for more videos. Check out my others as well. Of course, I make lots of walking videos almost every day, and I also talk about the urban infrastructure and what I could even do if I could make it even better. But I always like to comment on the surroundings and the area and also the urban planning. Right, this is a huge, fast-growing region, so it makes sense. I walk a lot of suburban stroads and all that shit. Anyway, thanks for watching. I gotta go have some lunch. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care and peace out.